Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Jeff Mendelson, and this is the One Big Tip podcast. My guest today is Yvonne Heimann, an efficiency entrepreneur who specializes in helping others systematize and simplify their business. Yvonne was bitten by the entrepreneurial bug in her early 20s when she opened her first pub in Germany. Over the past 15 years, she founded multiple businesses, each a success. Today, she coaches other entrepreneurs on how to build and scale a business so that they can support the lifestyle they desire. The first principle Yvonne teaches her clients is that you must create systems to build a successful business to ensure that it runs smoothly. So, this is going to be a great discussion today. I've seen some of the material that Yvonne puts out, and I'm just really excited to have you on the show today. Yvonne, thank you for joining me and welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. And I love the excitement about all the systems. Usually people are like, systems?
Right.
So I always get excited when people get excited about systems.
Systems, I think, are the sexiest part of the business, right? Let's just put it out there, because what happens is when you have, especially systems that have multiple touch points, and they bring together 2, 3, 4, 5 different systems and bring them all together, and we can talk a little bit about some of the ways that people do it. It just makes for a well-oiled machine, and it can literally take tasks that take 10 minutes, half an hour, make people lose focus down to just getting done. Right. And I think that's that's the most exciting part.
Now you're gonna like this story that literally just happened to me.
Tell me.
As you know, I restarted my podcast now that I finally knew the focus on this. And being able, so for everybody listening, this is a reason why you want to have systems in place. Took me a year to figure out what I want to focus on with my podcast. So, this ideation can take some time. Yet, the moment I decided what my podcast is going to be about, from that moment on to being scheduled and ready to go live with that podcast for the next 2.5 months, took me only 48 hours, maybe 3 days. That was it. That's 3 days of being able to set up a podcast, being able to manage a podcast, being able to go live with my guests, because we are doing this similar as you do, Jeff. We go live and we then turn it into a podcast, including the processes of repurposing the podcast behind it, turning it into a blog post, turning it into social media posts, managing your guests. You know how that goes. You need this information and that information and here and there. All of that was done within 3 days. 3 days. And I was scheduled out for the live shows for the next 2.5 months. And only because we have been building, cleaning up, and optimizing my system for my YouTube videos. So now I have a system for content creation and repurposing ready to go. And it literally took that. I duplicated that system. I polished it up. I added a couple of things to it and done. How easy does it suddenly make your business and staying in your genius? And just imagine the scalability of things. I was able to recreate and reuse an existing system and bring out something completely new within 3 days.
It's amazing that, we're able to take these conversations and really just pivot them around. And, what I think the big secret here is that it's not that you're necessarily doing the work. You have a system so that you're putting it together, and then each person who specializes in each of the different points that are needed along the way, so they know exactly what they do and that they can work in their specific zone of genius. So, like for me, I don't like editing audio. Right? I can't stand listening to the sound of my voice. Please do not make me do it. I will shoot myself now. Right? So when you bring somebody on who loves doing that, it's like, please edit my audio, take my money, please.
Oh,
right?
we went so far that my podcast is a listen in style. no audio is going to be edited. The only audio that might be edited is the intro from going live. So just the waiting a second till everything is done. And then the outro, again, where there might be a little bit of delay from the live show. That's all we do. We don't do, my audience knows exactly, what you get is what we recorded. There is no editing happening whatsoever. Because I found myself, that's the style of podcast that I'm actually listening to. And I don't like editing either.
What is your favorite tool for doing all this?
Doing all this is quite a broad doing what. So when it comes to me actually editing something, I love Descript. So Descript is a tool that is throughout all our process. For the specific podcast creation and systems and all of that, we do our task and project management in ClickUp. I'm like, if somebody has seen me before, I'm in love with ClickUp. Most of my YouTube content in the efficiency space is based around ClickUp. That's where we automate things. That's where we simplify things. We go live in the specific podcast setup. We go live with Restream, straight up multi-streaming. It allows us to dual record audio. So if for whatever reason my audience is not on the same audio level and they might be higher in volume than me, I have both audio streams and I can fix that if it needs to happen. We are then downloading that. It goes into Descript, clean up the transcription, do all the things so that we have those written resources too, which then get uploaded to YouTube, which get uploaded as a blog post, which also gets uploaded into my podcast host, which is Transistor FM. I love them because I can add pre-roll, I can add mid-ads as well as end-roll, and it's dynamic, meaning if I'm promoting something today, like, hey, book release, and that ends in 2 months, I can update my ad in between. So it has that dynamic feature. Social media scheduling is happening in Agora polls. Jasper once in a while helps me if I can't think of anything written and I need a good idea. So Jasper is an artificial intelligence that helps you write content. Am I missing something else in my tech stack? As you can tell, it's like I'm a tech nerd, but they all have their nice place in this system to really make it easy to get the most out of your content, to really be able to replicate everything easily.
What's interesting about tech stacks is, there's a lot of capable software out that can do maybe 70 to 80% of everything that you described, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is I've noticed that there is no one piece of software that does 100% of everything you need, right? Something's got to be. And
honestly, it shouldn't, because look, as humans, we don't do everything. If you have a tool, and I have to give it to ClickUp, they've tried to do it all. They finally moved away from that marketing spiel of we are the one for everything. If you're trying to do everything, you are doing everything just half-assed. So focus on where your genius is. I'm like, focus where your genius is, focus at what you're good at, improve, 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 and you're going to be the best. If you are trying to be the best in everything, you are mediocre in everything.
How do you help businesses not only systematize, because I think everyone gets that you need to have a system, right? I think, like everyone's been to a McDonald's, whether it's in San Diego or Miami, right? They go into a McDonald's and they get the exact same product made the exact same way that tastes the exact same. Everything's the same, right? So everyone gets the part about systematizing. How about simplifying? Right? Simplifying is probably one of those things that, people think like, well, I can't simplify my business. I already create this, really complicated thing. That's how I deliver value. But the fact of the matter is, like you do need to figure out how to make things simple, not only if you want to grow, but also if you want to deliver more amazing value. How does that look in your world?
I love your McDonald's example, because we here in California actually don't go to McDonald's. We go to In-N-Out. And that example right there shows you what simplifying your systems really means. You will never, ever wait longer, even if it's lunch rush. I have never waited longer than 10 minutes to get a complete, perfect, fresh burger at In-N-Out because they have simplified and streamlined their system so much. Done. It's like me as a business efficiency consultant, I go through In-N-Out and I'm in awe every single time. So, what it means to work with me and to simplify your systems is we as entrepreneurs are often change makers. We are thinking big, we are thinking small, we are in between all of this. We have all of these ideas, we have all of the things. Just think of your tech stack shiny objects. I want this and I want that. No, no. And no matter how much you think your offer is so customized and so fancy, I'm sorry to break it to you, chances are it's not. There is a framework behind it. Is it customized to the needs of your client? Yeah, probably, because clients have different needs. They have different communication styles. They have different issues they need to break through. Yes, it is customized to your clients, don't get me wrong, but when you look at it and you really actually chunk down on what you do, chances are there is a framework behind it. There is one single way of how you actually do something. Your delivery is customized, but how you actually do it, how you guide your client through the change and the impact you are having with them, it's the same thing over and over and over again. So I help my clients really figure out what is that framework behind it, because interestingly, a lot of my clients don't see their work like that. They need help really drilling down and chunking down on what they do to discover this framework that they already have built. And what we do then is working with their team and really allowing their team be in their genius. What that means is let them do their job. You don't need to micromanage them. Is everything always going to be perfect? No, we are all humans. I did things wrong. You did things wrong. Just let them do their thing. Give specific boundaries, meaning, hey, this is how we want to sound online. This is how we want to show up. They need to have those specifics to you and your brand, and then send them off and let them do their job, giving the resources that they have while letting them update the SOP themselves. What do you need to do the task the right way? And then just go.
You know what's really interesting about what you're describing here is also how to hire the right person for the right job. I've gone to both extremes, right? Where I started the business with no systems, with no processes, with no SOPs, all the way to where I was writing SOPs with these really intricate screenshots that tell you to go from 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And if God forbid something happens at step 3, they didn't know how to proceed. Right. And what happens is that that's also the wrong way to do it. Right. Because if I wanted to create mindless robots, well, then I could just be using Zapier. Right. I don't need to pay somebody, in order to do that. I need someone who can actually think through the problem and be like, okay, yeah, here's where it stopped, but here's where I can get it back on track.
And there is something to both ways. When you are starting out, you are often hiring on the lower end of the pay grade, meaning they're going to need more information, they're going to need more specifics. And what we usually do is we have two ways of how you described your SOP. We have an SOP for the process, which is also built in a way that it can support existing team members that don't need as much information, but also educate the new member and needing more information. So specifically as a feature, what we do in an SOP is a drop-down kind of entry, meaning this is what you need to do. You click on a little arrow and it gives you more specifics to that. When you were talking about all of those screenshots and click here and do that and do here, that is more of a wiki where we have resources specific to specific tools on how you do something. And then allow your team to update those. It's not, you don't have to be in there. If they are doing this process, if they are running the system, tell them if you run into something where something has changed, where a tool is different, where the button has moved, go update it. Now, once you started with that, and your business is growing, you are scaling, you are potentially, probably most likely, gonna hire more higher up, more educated, more experienced team members. They're not going to need all of that. And if you are really micromanaging them and giving them all of that, you are just killing the creativity. You are, as you said, you are just building robots that it's not going to be to your advantage, because now you are literally planning every single minute of their day, which can be a good thing if they have enough room to play and think themselves, where the creativity comes in. So finding that balance between giving your team the resources that they need to do their job while giving them the freedom of doing it. Just because you have a way doesn't mean it's my way, doesn't mean that's how they should work. Every brain in every team member works differently. Not one person works the exact same way the other one works. So again, give them the boundaries so they're not overstepping. In my brand, we get to curse on our social media. In other brands, that's not going to happen. So set those boundaries, set those expectations, and then set them free. They're like children. Once they turn 18, go kick them out of the house and let them have some fun.
Exactly. Thank you so much for articulating that. When you help clients through this, can you walk us through an example of how you helped a client, create and simplify these systems, and what kind of benefit has it brought them?
So what we do internally is I work all of my clients through what I call my SOAR framework, meaning we are starting at the beginning. What needs to be systemized? What is really important in your business? And we make the decision by what has the biggest impact with the least effort possible, to really start in the beginning to have big impacts and move forward. And then we catch up with the ones that take a little bit longer. So systemize is the first step. Once we have those systemized, we are optimizing things. When it's just in your head, it doesn't make any sense. So getting it out on paper, laying it out, building those workflows, building those visual charts, English on a Monday. Maybe I should try the German again. Building out those flow charts to really see how things are happening will already help you figure out where there is a bottleneck, where you're doing things too crazy, where you can simplify. Once that's done, we are looking in how can we automate this? Where is our time suck? Where is there data entry manually that has to happen that we can automate? Where can we connect things? Where can we make, usually in the beginning, admin work way easier? Then we are looking at review and repeat, meaning review, let's look back. What worked, what doesn't work, what did we need to adjust? And we are starting from the beginning again. And for example, I went through this kind of process with a marketing agency, a digital marketing agency. They came to me with, I need to say alive, 50 team members. They're doing paid as well as organic social media marketing. And by the time we were done, they were running with 150 employees. Their churn rate on clients went down, meaning they didn't have to constantly spend money to market and reach new clients. Old clients just stuck around because they were happy. Things were just flowing easily. As well as their internal error rate of, hey, this needs to be fixed. This image wasn't right. That wasn't right. We lowered that by 120% too. So that was a nice, fun one.
Amazing. Thank you so much for articulating that. That was, that's amazing. I mean, really helping a business grow, especially headcount and, client count and reducing churn are all things that I think, entrepreneurs really need to take note of. And the fact of the matter is, without a system, you're not taking a vacation.
Nope.
Like, you are not getting away from there. You cannot go on a cruise and know and sleep at night that your business is running smoothly if you do not have this kind of stuff in place.
If
So
you
I
are not
really,
able to take a 4-week vacation without having a heart attack and constantly being attached to your phone, we have a problem.
exactly. Yvonne, tell us a little bit about where people can find you online and how they can reach out to you directly.
You pretty much can find me anywhere at askyv.com. That's askyvi.com. And if you want to dive deeper really into this whole idea of the SOAR framework of systemizing, optimizing, automating, and then review, rinse, and repeat, Jeff allowed me to share that with you. I have about a 30-minute masterclass on that. You can find that at askyv.com/SOAR, with quite some resources on systems as well as tech stacks to get you started and streamlined and
I
systemized
love it.
and simplified.
Yvonne, Yvonne, thank you so much for joining me. This has been a lot of fun. I love nerding out on this stuff, and I think it's going to be a big help to everyone who listens. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks so much for having me.